The Rothschild banking dynasty. Easily one of the wealthiest families in history, but also the single largest source of conspiracy theories. The vast and shrouded wealth of the Rothschilds has endured for generations and has unsurprisingly made it hard to tell what is fact and what is fiction. In this video, we're going back to the earliest days of this famous Jewish family to see how they managed to build one of the greatest fortunes in history at a time of rampant anti-Semitism. Our story begins in medieval Europe. By the 10th century, most of Europe was under the domain of Christianity. Political power was invariably tied to religion, which made being a non-Christian very unfavorable. Perhaps the biggest victims of these circumstances were the Jews. Having no home state of their own to fall back to, the Jews were scattered throughout Europe, and many of them settled in the Holy Roman Empire. This vast multi-ethnic state contained modern-day Germany, and like the rest of Europe, it too wasn't happy to harbor the Jews. In many cities, the Jews were forced to live in particular neighborhoods, in what we now call ghettos, and the city of Frankfurt was no exception. From 1462 onwards, it confined all the Jews in the city to a single narrow street outside the city walls. That street came to be known as the Judengasse, or the Jewish Alley, and it was made up of numerous tightly packed houses. Back then, the buildings weren't distinguished by numbers, but by signs. One building could be the House of the Ship, for example, while another could be the House of the Golden Stone. The sign on one of those houses was a red shield, or Rothschild in German, and the family living in the house had gone by the same name since at least 1528. Like most Jewish families at the time, the Rothschilds were involved in finance. You see, in medieval Europe, Christianity forbade anyone from lending money with interest, leaving this otherwise profitable business into the hands of the Jews. Experience with money lending, and by extension anything relating to finance, was passed down generations, and the Rothschilds were no exception. They specialized in exchanging currencies and trading collectible coins, and the best one of them all was Mayer Rothschild. He took up the family business in 1763, and his extensive collection of coins attracted the wealthiest aristocrats in the Holy Roman Empire. Among them was Crown Prince Wilhelm of Hesse. The prince met Mayer in 1769 and quickly learned to trust him with all matters relating not just to collectible coins, but anything financial. When Wilhelm came into power as Wilhelm IX of Hesse in 1785, he hired Mayer to manage his finances as his Hofjude, or court Jew. Now keep in mind, this was a common arrangement in Central Europe. The nobility would outsource their finances to Jews in exchange for protection, money, and sometimes even actual noble titles. Mayer oversaw the taxes collected in Wilhelm's lands and had to keep his money safe, a task that became very difficult in 1806. That is the year when Napoleon invaded Hesse, driving Wilhelm into exile and putting his fortune at risk. But Mayer was smart, and he was ready for Napoleon. In 1798, he had sent one of his 5 sons, Nathan Rothschild, to London to start a currency business similar to his father's. With this foundation in place, Mayer had no trouble moving Wilhelm's fortune to London, where he then loaned it out to the British Crown. In essence, Wilhelm was funding the British to fight Napoleon in order to restore his power. Now Mayer died in 1812, leaving Wilhelm's fortune and the Rothschild legacy in the hands of Nathan. He remained in London, while his eldest brother took over the original Frankfurt business. Meanwhile, the 3 remaining brothers scattered throughout Europe, establishing branches in important European capitals. Despite the distance, the brothers applied a unified strategy. They would loan out their money to the aristocracy and to local governments. The brother in France, for example, became the banker of Leopold I of Belgium, while the one in Vienna would lend money to the last Holy Roman Emperor, Francis II. In 1818, he would grant all 5 brothers the noble title of Baron, finally elevating the Rothschilds to nobility. Throughout the next decades, whenever a European government collapsed and was replaced, it was the Rothschilds who were first in line to provide loans. That's exactly what happened after the French Revolution of 1830 or after the fall of the Holy Roman Empire. The loaning business was immensely successful. The Paris branch, for example, grew from the equivalent of $5 million in 1820 to over $500 million in 1850. In essence, the 5 Rothschild banking families back then provided the same service that the International Monetary Fund provides today. They stabilized major currencies and provided loans to governments, doing both at a great profit. Of course, throughout the 19th century, the five branches also made many private investments beyond their government loans. In 1868, they purchased one of the most valuable wine estates in France. In 1875, they acquired a minority stake in the Suez Canal from Egypt, while in 1883, they funded the development of the first major oil well in the Old World, challenging the Rockefeller monopoly in America. They also became majority shareholders in the diamond monopoly of De Beers and in Rio Tinto, one of the world's largest mining companies. But during the 20th century, the newer generations of the five Rothschild families made fewer and fewer successful moves. In 1900, the branch in Naples actually became extinct when the last male heir died without children, leaving his fortune to the branch in Paris. A somewhat amusing fate befell the branch in Germany. There, the two Rothschild heirs had 11 girls and not a single boy, splitting up the fortune and disintegrating its power. The Rothschild branch in Austria was doing well, until Hitler came to power, of course. When Nazi Germany annexed Austria in 1938, the Rothschilds had to sell their banking operation for a fraction of its true worth. Most of them escaped with whatever liquid assets they had, but at least one was captured on his way out, and in fact he was only released after paying the largest ransom in history at the time, $21 million. The ransom effectively bankrupted the Austrian Rothschilds, while the Nazis seized all their mansions, businesses, and art. A few years later, exactly the same thing happened to the branch in Paris. In fact, the collections they had were so exquisite that Hitler and Hermann Göring personally went there to observe them and to pick out what they liked. Through the detailed inventories compiled by the Nazis, we know that they seized a total of 5,003 objects from the Rothschild collections, and the vast majority of them were never returned. The French Rothschilds had some luck in restoring their businesses after the war, but then the French socialists nationalized their bank in 1981. In the end, only the English branch survived the 20th century with its fortune intact. Its patriarch during the second half of the 20th century was Sir Evelyn Rothschild, who even today is the financial advisor to Queen Elizabeth. He retired from leadership in 2003, passing the mantle of patriarch to David Rothschild, a member of the branch in Paris who then merged both branches into a single entity. He ensured the secrecy of the family's fortune by establishing a complex network of shell companies, starting off in Switzerland but ending God knows where. But at the end of the day, while the 19th century banking family might have been one of the richest of its day, today the Rothschilds are a shadow of their former glory.
Yo, back in this bitch for Mo. What Mo? Another episode, Mo. I don't know why I said that, but this is Go Deep episode 242. Oh my god. Oh man. We are back in this bitch. Yes, it is late night and I'm still editing. Listening to some shit. You know, the usual podcaster life. But I got another good podcast coming to you. I got my homeboy Brian Kumm. We sat down, had a nice little talk. A talk that should have been had a long time ago. And a talk that, you know, we'll continue more in the future. We've been talking about this type of shit forever. God damn. Keep yawning. So, I don't want to take too long and talk, but I do want to kind of preface this conversation because I'm going to put a few videos in here also. Now, look at us in the movement, right? Before we get into some music, I'm going to just say this so we can get into some music and then get into the podcast. We're in a movement, right? We're in a movement pretty much run by a corporation, right? And I think, and I saw today, you know, with kind of like a little argument about which day we should do, the 5th or the 13th or whatever. I saw today that it's kind of like maybe getting out of hand, or maybe somebody need to kind of step up and tell everybody how the corporations speak to you. They don't speak to you in regular word. I mean, they do speak to you in regular words, but it's not meant to be taken like you think it's meant to be taken. It's meant to be taken in a way that kind of puts you under a spell. It's called a science of persuasion. And I'm going to show you how corporations speak to you, because corporations do certain things. Or, you know, not just corporations, but mainly corporations. Oh, God. Mainly these corporations do these certain things to trick you out of your money, because you wouldn't willingly give all of your money away. But these sciences have been practiced since like World War II. The Nazis have been trying to, you know, complete these shit with mind control and their little shit they were doing called MK Ultra. Now, that system came to America. It went into the inner core of America, and it put, you know, a certain position where now we got to deal with these Nazis. Now we got to deal with their science. Now we got to deal with their technologies. Now we got to deal with all of that shit. And where did they really go? They didn't really go into like politics and shit. They went into more like corporations. So when you see this conversation, and when you see who I put, you know, Brian mentioned him, and I'm going to put him into the movie also, Klaus. Into the podcast. When you see how he talks, how he persuades, and what ends up happening to the world after he speaks, you're going to see that we're all under this certain mind control. And it's a certain mind control that's put out by the corporations. The corporations mainly have been using the science since the Nazis. And then we can really go into some shit. But let's just get into the fucking podcast. I've talked enough. I will get back to editing because it's like 1:30 in the morning. And that's what I'm going to do. So you need to stop being a bitch and just press like and subscribe and tell your friends about me, because we got a good podcast going. Yeah, bitch.
Hey, free Joel, man. Head huncho. Hey, free Joel, man. Head huncho. Hey, free Joel, man. Head huncho. Hey, free Joel, man. Head huncho, man. Yeah. I just bought a new body. I fucked that hoe in a new body. I just bought her a new body. Now she look like Miley Cyrus. I just bought a new chopper with a knife on it, call it Michael Myers. I'm trying to get me a new body. That's Illuminati, money brain power. Hey, you the type niggas that sit down. Get out, yeah, go get down. Twin on head, yeah, that brief out. Hey, that lick ain't no lick, they got stick out. They got your how are you here now? We pulled up in your shit like we been out. Watch your mouth, how you talk, you get bitch slapped. Thinking about running out, you get kidnapped. Come here, nobody can't throw no work on you. Hit his head with that clown, make a jerk on him. Doctor looking like, no, we can't work on him. Drop his ass in the bar, throw some dirt on him. Yeah, you to do dirt out of hot box. No straight out that jungle like Pop Pop. I'm a tiger in the wood with no gun ball. I like cornbread, cat bag, grandma. I just smoked some granddaddy with grandpa. Bird, black, big dog. Niggas say he gon' murder me, I went out. I ain't trusting these hoes, they been crossed. But this shit got me R. Kelly pit dog. Acting rah-rah, bitch, you gon' die. Can't pull up with that can, go vibe. Somebody turn your little car to a drop top. Run him bean on your chest like you shot out. You must think you the only one shot fight. Tell Zell with that Wi-Fi. You can not get me out. I'm respected like Brooklyn top 5. I just ripped out my throat to the top guy. I make shit disappear just like wildlife. And I bring back your spinning like Popeye. Then I'm back on the road like bye-bye. Brains. Nigga run up on me in this shot fight. Go get back with some gag and high. I just laugh at these niggas like ha. Night try. Also codeine, watch sci-fi. If he drive by cool knocking tired, then just laugh at these niggas like ha. Night try. Also codeine, watch sci-fi. If he drive by try. Post a codeine, watch sci-fi. If he drive by, cool, not get tired. Then run up on the car, just 5-5. Leave your head on the horn at the stop sign. Stop tell him folks stop trying. All these guns, how far we gon' stop crying? Got me blessed on it all time. How the fuck he threatened, he hog tied. The jury, DA, all of just let it slide, he all kind. We see it and all wide. Shots out the mall on that south side. Show my raw side. I ain't she open mall wide. I'm scratching on hard as out of Belma. In the slim, scroll idea, sound the fucker. I'm scratching on hard as out of Belma. In the slim, scroll idea, sound the fucker. I'm scratching on hard as out of Belma. In the slim, scroll idea, sound the fucker. Come picture what I've been through, I remember. Dead hit the phone like check the channel. I was rocking power, red bandana. Nigga really blood game member. Red codeine in a felon. All these drugs turn me to a sinner. CC dropping coke in a blender. They keep running off on a soon as a nigga try to kill him. They gon' pin the law on a nigga. Shoot it through his mama room wonder. That's how you get off on a nigga. Now they making calls to a nigga. I don't want talk to a nigga. Click. Hello? 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 Just bought a new body. Just bought a new body. Just bought a new body. I fucked that hoe in a new body.
Well, that boy be cut up perfectly. Man, you always be perfectly groomed.
Hardly, man.
What's going on, man?
Not too much. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. No complaints at all. It's been a long time since you've been on this bitch, bro.
Yeah, it has. It's been way too long.
Hell yeah. So we talked this morning, and you showed me some shit, and I was like, well, I'm pretty sure we've been saying that. But now you got it on paper.
Little confirmation, yep.
Yeah, little confirmation. So I know we're gonna get into that shit, and feel free. We can talk about anything, man. If you just wanna, whatever. But I know there's gonna be a spider web that goes in a long way. So when we talk in the chat rooms, I noticed they be looking at us like we're fucking retarded. Like we're on a different planet, dog. And I'm like, that. I don't like this shit be kind of easy to see to me. Not like I'm some fucking Neo, but I think this is like some easy type shit,
It's hard to see until you learn it. It's almost like a language. And once you learn the language, you can see it everywhere.
Right. I agree. I never heard it put like that, but that's 100% it. So me and you, we find ourselves after this like 4 going on 5 years of knowing each other. We find ourselves, in a fucking movement that's pretty much online, and it creates a lot of internet data. It creates a lot of social engineering. It creates a lot of there's a lot of political undertones in there. There's a lot of, it's based on a death and rebirth story of Superman, which is, that's a whole nother ritual in of itself, But let's talk about some of the shit that you found recently, and then we can kind of tie it into it, because I say it's connected to everything. I know you say that too, and we can just connect it as we go,
Yeah, we'll just talk it out. Yeah, definitely.
Word.
All right.
So you found some shit today on Toby, and
Stuff on Toby. I've been looking for a while because he's kind of public enemy number 1, right?
Right.
At least in terms of the obstacles that we faced. And he was the main excuse maker back when all this started. So,
Right.
I always kind of looked at him because we sort of always had this idea of how things, we get called the conspiracy theorists, you know, and
I
we
wore my
study,
shirt just in case we need some
yeah,
references.
study up on the New World Order and
Right.
that stuff. So a lot of people probably don't realize, oh, it's kind of all connected, or if they, you know, understand that it's connected, they sort of see, you know, sort of in a more tangential way, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But so I've been looking at Toby for a while, just because he's obviously protected somehow. He's obviously got connections,
Right.
and so what's that about?
Yeah.
You know, felt like maybe he was, you know, kind of like a Rothschild puppet or something like that, you know?
Right.
Turns out I was wrong about that.
But how wrong were you? Because the Rothschilds do some banking for this certain crew, and I think this certain crew is
Vatican.
who we're looking at.
Yep, definitely.
Right.
You know, they, you know, and you can kind of get into some hot water talking about them for sure. Mm-hmm. And as always, we're just going to say everything here is open source.
Yeah. And conspiracy. We're just nut jobs.
For all the social years, if you didn't want me to find this, you should have scrubbed the internet better. So yeah, you know, we always figured there was sort of the top-down structure with, you know, the all-seeing eye and that whole thing. Mm-hmm. The shirt. Mm-hmm. But it turns out, you know, I was able to kind of stumble across this information on Toby, not digging into him specifically, but I found it from someone else that I was able to connect it to him. And that person would be Klaus Schwab, who I know you have talked about before on here.
Yeah, I mean, those names just don't sound American, you know, Emmerich and Schwab, and, you know, it's just some shit we should look at, because I think the corporations maybe run America more than the politicians do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. They and you can see their influence gets greater every day. The control they try to take on us, right, you know, tightens up every day.
Right.
But no, so obviously Klaus Schwab, I know you've covered it before, so we don't need to get too crazy with it, but he's sort of the front man or the architect of the Great Reset, which is going on right now.
Which we're right in the middle of.
Right in the middle of it, which is essentially the creation of the New World Order.
Yep. World Economic Forum.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I found that Klaus Schwab is actually a Rothschild. His on his mother's side, and his grandmother, who married into the Rothschilds, is an Emmerich.
Wow, what great connections!
Correct. That Emmerich happens to be the great aunt of Toby. So Toby is the second cousin of Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab is a direct descendant of Mayor Amschel Rothschild.
God damn. So the red capes are coming for real, huh?
The red capes are here.
God damn. All right. So when we see this shit now, in a movement of a bunch of 17-year-old, 18-year-old, whatever, this type of shit not even supposed to be talked about. You know, we're only supposed to talk about like Batman, Superman, what Deathstroke is gonna do, and blah, 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 right? But we turn out we're in a movement where we're trying to preach to a guy who's directly related to Klaus Schwab. We're trying to preach to him economics. Like, hey man, if you put out this Release the Snyder Cut movie, you'll make a lot of money. Hey, if you do this, you'll make a lot of money. It's not about money, you know, yeah. Like they're already fucking rich, you know,
right.
We're not teaching them anything. Warner Brothers have made billions of dollars.
None of us have made billions of dollars. So we're not going to teach them how to do it. They're fucking, it's more, they're here for something more, you know? So
Yeah.
when we were talking, I kind of looked at it like maybe Toby can be looked at a little bit like Lex was in BVS, you know, or you know, maybe even
I think
Ozzy.
there's direct comparison there. Yeah.
Right. The corporation, the son, the German connections, you know, the political influence, all of that shit. I think we're kind of looking more at that, and I think Zack Snyder might be maybe trying to connect Toby and Lex in some way because there's a lot of similarity. What do you think?
I agree with that. Totally agree with that. And if you study up on, you know, the Rothschilds and their background, you know, there's certain things that Lex says that kind of allude to a shared history there, like almost like he's sort of like a stand-in for someone like that.
Correct. All right, I could see that definitely. Like, all right, so if we look at it, Toby probably is a stand-in for someone. I mean, definitely, because the people.
Well, yeah, I mean, he, you know, I said he's not the puppet because he's the hand.
Right.
You know.
Wow.
He's the hidden hand. You know, we talked about John Stanky.
Right.
And, you know, in front of that picture with the pose, and he's got his hand in his pocket, you know, like they all do.
And Prometheus in the background.
Right. So Toby's the hidden hand. And he's gonna approve anything that they want approved, and he's gonna green light and fund, you know, what's gonna serve their purpose.
All right, so let's get into that. So we say their purpose. We know the Rothschilds, they are supposedly Jewish bankers, but they're not, right? Yeah. I think they hung around the Nazis and the royal family.
The simple way to say this, because this is the way the whole New World Order works, is they take an institution that sort of has a purity to it, whether it's religious or some social cause or something like that, and they get in there and they infiltrate it and they twist it around to serve their own purpose. So whether you're talking about, you know, the Jewish religion, or, I mean, the Rothschilds are the Vatican bankers, so can you say that they're Christian? Or they serve the crown, so are they Anglican? Like, you know, we can talk about the tentacles because I think they're there. And
right.
You know, to just say these are people that hide what they do behind your virtue. You know, they
explain that.
Well, what you are, you know, if you're someone who's virtuous or someone that tries to do good,
right,
they see that as a weakness to exploit.
Right, correct. Right. I get that. So they I'm trying to layer that on top of our movement. Like,
sure.
All right, so they're trying to. We know the cancel culture, and we know this shit that happened with Trump. We know all of this shit. Like, seems like the downfall of America right now. And we know Zack Snyder was kind of doing a death and rebirth story of Superman, which would have been like the death and rebirth of America. And it seemed like it's all kind of overlapping. But we see, remember they had some shit when they told Zack to take out the Nazi shit and what was that, BVS or something like that? Or no, Justice League.
Definitely. And don't discount the time travel stuff either.
Right. Okay. All right. So that the Nazis was working on that with the Bell and all of that shit like that. All right. So we look at it and we know the Nazis, their big thing was mind control because they wanted to control the world. They wanted to fucking everyone under one leader. So we know Hollywood is big on mind control because it's the propaganda capital of the world. Do you think we stumbled across this, or did they just fucking see an opportunity with this movement and they jumped on it? Or did we just walk into the lion's den already that was already built?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of all of that. Like, I don't know, we're talking about AI, we're talking about some advanced technology that we don't really even understand.
Right.
We don't even really know how they're using it against us. Right. We have an idea, but we don't know how that actually works.
Right. Correct.
But there's been enough evidence and there's been enough projects that have been declassified over the years, even if they're all blacked out, that we can put some pieces together and see that we're definitely not getting all the information. Right. And if you even just look at the budgets, like what's adding up, you know?
Right.
You know, you had Rumsfeld saying on September 10th how much was missing, you know, how many trillion were missing from the.
Right.
It's always the same. It's always the same playbook.
Right. Correct. And I see that. And because if you look at AT&T stock price right now, when I bought it was at 31, and I bought that shit last year. It's at 28 right now, so which means I would have lost $3 a share. It hasn't moved up much at all, and there's still green light and a ton of shit at HBO Max. So it's something more than they're making money more in more areas. So I look at it like, all right, we got mind control. And this is what I'm connecting it to. The Nazis was big on that MK shit. They did it in Canada. They did it in Detroit. They did it in, America, all those other places. But, all right, now it's in Hollywood. And we're on this Twitter app all day. We're on this movement, this internet shit all day. I think really they're learning how to control our brains through this shit. I think they're just capitalizing on all the Nazi research that they've been doing since World War II, and or World War I. I think Zack Snyder was saying that, and even with Wonder Woman, how that first movie, I know Patty Jenkins did it, but whatever, she was. Yeah, they were saying.
Story.
Yeah, he was involved in it. They were saying how hinting how they were running these tests on people and blah blah blah. So we know the Nazis have been doing that forever. Now we know all of their technology is in America. We know that. We know this. We know also that all the people that were studying their technology just happen to be in Pasadena or California, like Scientology or some shit like JPL. Right. Some shit like that. So when we know all of this shit and then a place like Warner Brothers sprouts out of this system.
In Burbank.
Right. And this just sprouts out of this system. And then they put out these movies that we all are just fascinated to. We're all drawn to. But then now we're drawn to it on the internet. And I think they're controlling our mind through this shit. I think it was all like, how they tried it with TVs first. Or, at first they tried it with the War of the Worlds on the radio, and they made everyone think there was aliens invading. But when they saw that shit, they could just ramp it up. So then they controlled you with the TV. Oh, cigarettes are cool. Everyone starts smoking cigarettes. Then they figured out, oh shit, we can do it even more. We can not only subliminally message them, we could fucking, I don't know, algorithmically mess with.
And advertising has its roots in all of that with Bernie. Everything.
Right. So I think I think we walked in a lion's den that was already here, and I hate to say it like that because I don't even want to go down that route on what if, these people did this or what if these people did that. But I see nothing but manipulation in our movement. I see nothing but they're making hella money because we're the biggest data kings on the planet. I see nothing but fucking boosting up more corporations who's tied into all of this old Nazi shit. That's all I see. I don't see no bigging up each other. I don't see no showing love to each other hardly. I don't see none of that shit. I see all the shit that benefits them. So if we look at who's been benefiting from the Snyder Cut movement, it's been Warner Brothers. And they have this technology to do it. They have the shit to do it. So
and at the very beginning of this movement, we were talking about the merger.
Mm-hmm.
Like the merger was this big lead up that we didn't know like what's going to happen.
Right. Correct.
And it's AT&T.
Right.
And I know you know this, but AT&T is just DARPA.
Right. Correct.
So you talk about the black budget and the hidden technology and what's really going on. We're there.
Right. We're right there. We're right there because it connects when, all right, like when we say shit like that, what you just said, people will look at us like, oh, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. But then when Christopher Nolan puts it in the movie and Lucius Fox says, damn, we shouldn't have this technology here. You know, I don't want to work here. Then everybody think, oh, that's some regular shit. You know, that's some cool shit. But then if I say, yo, that technology is right here, right now, doing exactly what they did in the Batman movie, doing exactly what they're doing.
Probably more.
Right, probably more. And then they look at you like, no, that can't be true. You know, and I'm like, oh my God. Only if you knew. Yo, I was watching this thing. My homeboy, he's this data analyst, and he told me to check this thing out called Oculus that Facebook bought. And Facebook now looks at your eyes to see how long your eyes are hovering over a certain ad or a certain girl or a certain whatever. So then when it knows, it connected with your eyeballs to then give you that ad before you even type it up next time.
Yeah.
You know, because it knows some way that, yo, I'm thinking about ice cream.
Like the pupil dilation and
right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
That's crazy. So if Facebook is doing that
shit. How is that not mind control?
Right. How is it not? Or what they're getting the Uyghurs and with their cell phone, if they talk on their phone, they get trapped by the military. That's like Minority Report, isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it? You know, like we're living in this shit, and people be like, oh, that's some conspiracy theory shit. And I'm like, no, dog. The same company that you're begging every day for movies are also doing this shit every fucking day. And now you're telling me that they connected with Rothschild money, who's connected with Windsor money, who's connected with Nazi money.
And all of these companies are owned by BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street.
God damn.
They're all on the boards of all these companies, the AT&T, Coca-Cola, every major company is owned by 3 or 4 companies whose board members are all the same.
Correct. That's 100% right. And that's, my homie was saying that also. He was saying, think about it like.
That's the entertainment companies. That's your political movements. That's everything.
Yep, it's everything. He said the same shit. He said, yo, think about this. You make X amount of money every month. You have your bills, then you have discretionary income. The companies want to know how to get all of your discretionary income. 100%. So you're not going to be you're never going to get over the top because you're always going to be buying shit because you're controlled by what you see.
You're always chasing it.
Right. So now we got this fucking shit in our movement about Cinelytics, and they just want to see us talk about what movies we want to watch so they know they can greenlight whatever movie. So,
and the one that did the whole article about the whole thing.
Who did it? Oh, I don't know. I remember it was years ago when I saw it.
I thought it was Toby that was talking about it.
It probably was about his new toy or something like that. Yeah. Right. I think you're right. He was saying he had a toy, and this toy is the AI. But now, so they're like, all right, we're gonna let this AI out, and it's gonna figure out what movies are getting chattered about. Blah blah blah. We're gonna read all your chatter, and we're gonna greenlight whatever you want. All right, that's great. Put it out on us. But then we give them all this chatter about movies we want to see, and they don't greenlight it. But that same technology is going to pinpoint people's location and send them to the military gulags. That's like Hitler shit, bro. That's like is nobody not recognizing this shit? You know, like they're gonna sell it to us as, oh, this is gonna be a movie industry gift to all of the fans. Oh, great. But what really it is a backdoor triangulation device through your cell phone device that they're making you stare at all fucking day. Like, I don't know, man. I think this is like all easy to pinpoint shit, but it's like a lot of people still.
You talked about the Green Pass.
No, I haven't talked about a lot of shit. But yo, no, keep going. My bad. I've been
No, saying you rope all that in together. You're talking about total control over an individual.
Correct. Fucking full spectrum dominance, and it's happening now. The mask. You can't talk about Trump online or you get kicked off line like happened to you. Even the president get fucking kicked off online. Words you say now you can be reported. Anyone can report it if you don't have on a mask. If you don't have this totalitarian system is here. Like we're fucking living in this bitch.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. That's why I get frustrated a lot because I think we waste a lot of time not talking about like the obvious shit. Like today.
But I think that's how you and I connected is because we were always looking for this bigger part of it that we knew was here.
Right. I think
we knew it'd be here. Like, how else does it make sense?
Right. How else does it make sense? Exactly. We look at it today like everyone arguing, yo, should we do the 5th or should we tweet on the 12th or whatever, 13th? But look how this, I'm just break this down from my perspective. I know that now if y'all agree to this shit, I know what you're going to be doing on the 5th. I'm mind controlling you to stop all of your life and go do something for me on the 5th and the 13th. I'm telling you that. All right. So cool. So now you got 300,000 people working nonstop for hours for you all day, not going to get paid at all, which could be considered slave labor, but we volunteered. Okay, but did we volunteer on purpose or did we get tricked into volunteering? Okay, we talk about that. So now everybody fighting, should we do this on the 5th or blah, blah, blah. More engagement.
Yeah, exponential engagement.
Exponential. It's going up like times, like X5, like times 5, times 6. We're just every day like, all right, so if we make an analogy of this, it's like, all right, we all jumped in to release the Snyder Cut. That was our job. But now it's like your boss is asking you to work overtime and there's no end in sight, So now is it like, yo, you kind of look at your boss like, yo, what the fuck are you getting out of this, And then when it looks like, yo, you were getting something out of this, now it's like, now I see why you've been stirring up this shit the whole time.
Yeah, it's always the moving goalpost because it's like, yeah, release the Snyder Cut. It's already there. You pretty much have it. Just put it out. Everyone will be happy,
right?
And then everyone will see, why we had to have the Snyder Cut, and we'll have the Snyderverse. It'll all be reinstated. It'll all be good,
right?
It'll have to happen that way, except when they hide the numbers on everything and they ignore that it even released.
Right.
Toby.
Right. You're right. So tell me this. How is he trickling down into our movement? Because you're up there with it and I'm down here. I'm still looking at the people that's influencing us to do work for Toby. But how is he trickling down here? Where is his stop? Who is he contacting?
Well, I mean, obviously he's got some family connections. And then beyond that, like, if his role is to be there and kind of keep an eye out for the family, then he's probably doing a pretty good job of that because he hasn't gotten fired despite all the many mistakes that seem obvious.
Right. So he's doing something right. He kept his fucking job.
For someone.
Right, for someone. Correct. All right. Let me ask you this. Oh, damn, I had a good question. With Toby, and you said he's protecting the family. Are we talking family outwardly, or are we talking family as in secret boys club, secret handshake club?
It's kind of all the same because we're only dealing with a few families. and they're all kind of mixed up at this point.
Yeah, you're a smart dude, man. You're a smart dude. There's nobody else, not really many other people I could talk about this shit with on Go Deep, really. It's like I'd just be sitting there. Sometimes be bumping my head like, God damn, y'all, come on, man. We are fucking, you know that little mouse on that little circle wheel? That's what we are, like every day, 24/7. And I'm like, yo, come on, y'all. You could do other shit. And then we just get so like emotionally tied up into it. And I gotta be like, yo, man, I don't want to be that like the comedian all the time. Oh, everything's a joke. I don't want to be like that. I want everybody to have fun in the shit, you know? Right. Yo, I don't want to be that guy, but I just can't stand like there's like a lot of shit going on that seems so obviously needed to be talked about. And nobody talks about the shit. All right, so
Or if someone will change the subject.
Correct. You notice that too, right? They change the subject into some dumb shit, or they be like, "No, Peely, that's not true. That can't ever happen," you know. And I'm like, "All right, whatever." But I see what it is. I see what it is. Cool.
Or they try to cancel you.
All of the above. Let's talk about that. Where do you see that shit coming from? That with me especially lately, there's a lot of, well, you and all of our chats. Where's all that beef shit coming from? You know, because I always look behind me like somebody stabbing me in my back. But what do you think is that perspective? What's your perspective of it? Do I be wilding out for no reason, or do I have a point on some of the shit that I say?
No, I think you have a point on pretty much most all of the things you say.
Yeah, I'd be fucked up sometimes.
Even if it's just to kind of get someone to think about something a certain way.
Yeah.
So I think the way it works is that we kind of walked into something that was a little bit set up.
Yeah.
We put our own like genuine energy into it, and we got a result from that.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more of a result than we really bargained for.
Yeah.
But I think with all the like all the constant like things to get you to engage, the drama, the beefs, the divides that happen, like I think there's willing idiots, and then I think there's agents, and I think there's plenty of them in the movement.
Right. I agree. That's what 44 told me that the other night. He said some people are just stupid and they just get caught up in the shit. And I agree to the point there's some
all you have to do is point them in a direction and, send them.
Fucking joker. Now let me ask you this. What about Trump? I remember me and you were both in the same room when I was like, yo, we just need to tweet Trump.
Yep. That was over on Vero, I believe.
On Vero, right. And they were like, fuck no, blah, 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 like that. So all of this shit. So now it's coming around where this great reset, I think, was started with COVID, that COVID pandemic or whatever. That's like the beginning of the great reset. But
that was sort of linchpin to it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so the Great Reset is really to reset America. It's like the death of America.
To reset the world, but
right.
In order to do that, you have to get rid of people that enjoy their personal liberties and their freedom. And I mean, we're kind of emblematic of that.
It is.
I mean, you have the Hong Kong protesters and people in Australia and in Europe that are protesting, waving our flag.
Yeah. And we can't do it.
No.
Because they'll call us January 6th and then we'll get thrown in jail. Hey.
Something like that.
That same cell phone technology is probably still tracking everybody that went to the Capitol that day.
Sure. I'm sure.
Definitely. And that's a scary thought because
And when you look at narratives that are pushed by the mainstream, and you see it on all the networks, but I'll point out at CNN because AT&T owns them, and just in this conversation, we're 1 degree away from Rothschild.
In CNN conversation.
The CNN
Anderson Cooper or
Anderson Vanderbilt.
Anderson Vanderbilt. Yeah, you're right. CIA.
Yeah.
Right. CIA Vanderbilt. You're right. CIA Cooper. And didn't Jake Tapper say something to the movement around the time in the election when we were supposed to be U.S. United?
Yeah.
So are we all a big tool for political propaganda used in America that they're going to reset? So they got to make sure our culture is reset as well?
I'd say that's a pretty safe bet. I mean, if you look at why Hollywood was started in the first place, it was really to sell us an idea of what we were instead of what we really are.
Let me ask you this, and this is the last question. Are we in a righteous movement, or is this some bullshit?
I think it's up to you.
That's what Jeff says. Yeah, I mean, there's some point to that. There's some truth to that. A lot of people said that before.
I don't mean to be cryptic about that, but I think a lot of it is what you take from it and what you put into it and how you direct your energy.
Right. How do we direct our energy? Let me ask you about the haircut. And I know I said last question, but this will be the last question. Do we direct our energy there, or what do you feel? Do you feel it's still some more of the same shit?
I think the same goes here as it did with the Snyder Cut movement. And I always said you should do what feels right to you. Because I think that's how we got where we did. Each of us did our own thing and pushed our own way.
Right.
And I think when you try to control everything and you try to do it top down and everything is all the same, and I don't think you get genuine energy that way, and I don't think things really happen.
Right. I agree. Let us do our thing, and then we'll come together as a better force if you let us do our thing than manipulate us.
So to answer your question, I'll probably tweet a little bit. I'll go through my timeline and I'll hit some retweets. I want to see the haircut too. I want to see the Snyder continue.
Right.
But I also don't want to be a slave to a global corporation that just wants to use my energy for their own whatever.
That's an excellent way to put it. Now check this out. I want you to throw into your song because I want to play your song. And you just, introduce it. This was a song that you made and blah, blah, blah. Give me the story behind it.
All right. So, however you want to do it, we did a video for it. I can send you the audio file. So however you want to do it up, it's.
Oh, I'm going to put the video.
What's that?
I'm going to put your video in there from YouTube.
Okay. I really appreciate that. I'll send you the link for that. And, I kind of, because I've been researching all this stuff for a while. I first came on here. I had sort of 3 different investigations that were going, and they all kind of looked like they were pointing the same way, which is kind of how I ended up meeting you, probably.
Yeah.
So that a lot of that stuff has been on my mind, and so I wrote this song probably about 1.5 years ago when I could kind of see where things were heading. The direction things were taking. It had a little bit to do with the movement. It also had a little bit to do with, the sort of geopolitical situations that we see. And, I wanted to have fun with it. So I threw pretty much every conspiracy I could find and fit in there. And I tried to reference it in some way and try to connect a few dots and have some fun with it.
That's what's up.
So the name of the song is called Fallen Star. Our band is Resonant Reflections. me and my best friend Chris. And you can find us at resonantreflections.weebly.com. And I really appreciate you putting the song on here.
Man, no problem, though. You're a cool dude.
And as always, I really enjoy talking to you. We don't do it nearly often enough, but
we should do it more.
Since the last time we spoke, I'm a father once again. So now I have 3 like you.
Damn,
and I'm sure you know how busy things can get. So
Hell yeah.
So we'll have to do this more often, but it's been too long now. So
right.
Good talking.
Yeah, no problem, man. Good talking to you too, homie. I'll catch up to you later.
Yeah. Appreciate everything you do, man.
1 billion of us own a smartphone, and we know how addicting it can be. One former Google employee says this is no accident. Indeed, it is by design. And he became troubled by the relentless efforts of app developers to keep us glued to the gadgets. So Tristan Harris founded an organization called Time Well Spent. He's asking the tech industry to bring what he calls ethical design to its products. NewsHour special correspondent Kat Wise has more, part of our ongoing collaboration with The Atlantic.
I noticed when I was at Stanford, there was a class called the Persuasive Technology Design class, and there's a whole lab at Stanford that teaches students how to apply persuasive psychology principles into technology to persuade people to use products in a certain way. So it's not about giving you all this freedom, it's about sucking you in to take your time.
So the goal is to keep us on our devices longer. Why?
For any company whose business model is advertising or engagement-based advertising, meaning they care about the amount of time someone spends on the product, they make more money the more time people spend. So the game becomes, how can I throw different persuasive techniques to get people to stay, to spend as long as possible, and to come back tomorrow.
And it's clearly working. Today, wherever we go, we're inevitably surrounded by fellow citizens staring into their phones, as we usually are too.
What do you think about when you're out in public and see people on their cell phones?
Have you ever been in a moment where you're sitting there and you just start using your phone to do something productive? Maybe you're in the back of a car, in a taxi, or you're on public transportation. Your phone is always giving you a way to spend time that can be more productive, more entertaining, or more stimulating than reality. I often say that this puts a new choice on life's menu that's sweeter than reality. And so we're turning to it more and more often. We check our phones about 150 times a day.
And what are the costs of that sort of constant interaction with technology, both on an individual level and as a society?
Well, I think each of us have to tune in for our own experience. I mean, what does it feel like when we check our phones 150 times a day? Or what does it feel like if we've been scrolling and had our face down and not breathing very much when we're scrolling for, say, 20 minutes? I mean, how do we feel on the inside?
How do you feel on the inside?
I feel like I don't feel very good after that. I feel like my anxiety goes up. I feel more concerned about what I'm missing out on, who I haven't gotten back to. People think that I'm bad at getting back to them. All of this sort of psychology emerges all because of this one thing in my pocket. And we've never had a media device that literally 1 billion people are kind of being programmed in the same way, where so much influence is in the hands of a few technology designers.
At Google, Harris was a so-called product philosopher and helped design the Gmail Inbox app.
First of all, there was no one in the Gmail team who said, how can we addict people to email? There's no one who said that. That was never a goal. But you did hear conversations like, should we make it buzz your phone every single time you get an email? There's a design question. But the outcome of that one choice would be 1 billion people getting buzzed at dinners with their dates and with their friends and with their family. All of these billions of phones, by the product of this one choice, would be affected and interrupted all the time.
And that was a conversation that you weren't having.
I was getting a little bit disenchanted with whether or not we were having, I thought, the bigger conversation about when email or any product that we make actually makes a positive impact on people's lives. And I made kind of a slide deck, a manifesto. It basically said, never before in history have 50 mostly male 20 to 35-year-old designers living in California working at 3 tech companies influenced how 1 billion people spend their time.
This is Coffee Bar in San Francisco, a popular hangout for high-powered techies like Harris. the ones whose choices can influence so many.
This idea of missing something, I think that drives a lot of risk.
Tony Robbins has a great quote. He says, I run 8 companies and I have thousands of employees. What do you think the chances are that at any given moment, if I check my email, something has gone wrong?
With his organization, Time Well Spent, Harris is urging peers in the tech world to have new conversations about the best interests of consumers.
We need to change the incentive. I think so long as the business model of technology companies is advertising, we are going to have a problem. And that's what we're trying to do with Time Well Spent, is to change the conversation from being about maximizing engagement and time to being about maximizing net positive improvements to people's lives.
What are some examples of apps that people use on a pretty regular basis, and the ways that these companies are drawing this in?
Have you noticed, if you ever log into Twitter as an example, so there's an extra delay that you don't know how long it's going to take. It's between 2 and 3 seconds, where the number of new notifications on Twitter you have. So why is that there? Well, it makes that into what's called a variable schedule reward. It's like a slot machine. So you're playing the slot machine, and there's a time delay, and in that time delay, your anticipation's building, and then you get to see how many notifications I get. And so you become more addicted to checking it again the next time.
It sounds like there's just a lot of sort of trickery going on here.
I call it the race to the bottom of the brainstem to, get people's attention at all costs. Let's say I'm YouTube, and I've got a certain amount of people's attention. What's YouTube's biggest competitor? Probably Facebook. Or take the CEO of Netflix recently said that the biggest competitors to Netflix are probably YouTube, Facebook, and sleep. Meaning sleep. Because at the end of the day, there's a finite amount of time people have, and if you're not getting people's time, someone else, some other app, or some other part of someone's life is going to get it. So these services are in competition with where we would want to spend our time, whether that's our sleep or with our friends. There's this war going on to get as much attention as possible.
Tristan, tell me about how you use your phone.
I try to use it as consciously as I can. One thing, for example, is I set it up so that I just have my in and out tools and my aspirational ways I want to spend my time on my home screen. So
what do you mean by in and out tools? What does that mean?
The tool is something that you use and you never use it longer or more than you want it to. For example, Google Maps. Like if I need directions, I don't end up scrolling through Google Maps for a half an hour randomly, right? I just go in and I find where I need to go and then I go out.
And these are things that really don't draw you in for long periods of time.
There's nothing on my home screen that explicitly makes money from or wants to maximize how much time I spend. And I put all those other things inside of folders that are hidden.
Are people still texting you, or are sort of your friends and colleagues, maybe they're not texting you or trying to reach out in a way that would distract you so often?
At the end of the day, the thing that dictates how someone reaches out to you and whether they use Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or iMessage isn't because they're thinking deeply about it, it's because it's just the fastest and easiest thing to reach for. And so I think we have to recognize that as human beings, there's just a certain set of things we're vulnerable to that do influence us. And if it buzzes right now, I would probably, without even thinking about it with you here, check it. And so if I don't want that to happen, I just have to put it away. In fact, my phone just buzzed right now. Then I just looked. There you go.
Even knowing what you know, you still picked it up.
And this is the thing that even the people in the world of persuasion we were talking about earlier, who know all about these tricks of how to get people to use products and to use a slot machine dynamic, whatever it is, they'll tell you that they themselves are no less vulnerable than the regular person because these techniques work on everybody. It's just part of being human.
AT&T, it's one of the most powerful conglomerates in the world. It's the largest telecommunications company on the globe. It's also, not incidentally, the parent company of CNN. That means a massive amount of America's digital infrastructure depends on CNN, a massive amount. If AT&T and its CEO, John Stankey, decided to prioritize foreign interests over American interests, That would be grave news to every American. We're learning tonight that in at least one instance, that's exactly what AT&T and John Stankey did. We've confirmed that AT&T lobbied the Department of Commerce not to levy sanctions against China Telecom, which is a large state-owned corporation headquartered in Beijing. This was first reported by the National File. Specifically, we know that AT&T worked to keep China Telecom off of something called the Entity List. That list blocks companies from selling American products and technology to certain foreign firms without first getting a license. We're told that China Telecom was set to be sanctioned because of its alleged support of human rights abuses by China's government, and there are very many of those. U.S. officials have said that China Telecom is backed by the Chinese military and under control of the nation's Communist Party, and of course that makes sense. AT&T is a proud partner of China Telecom, has a joint venture with China Telecom. In a statement provided to this show, AT&T admitted that it does not want China Telecom on the entities list, setting potential unintended consequences. Corey Stewart is the former Undersecretary of Commerce for Industry and Security. He has firsthand knowledge of what happened, and he joins us tonight to explain. Corey Stewart, I appreciate your coming on tonight. It's hard to believe that AT&T, an American, you think of it as an American company, would lobby on behalf of a company controlled by the Chinese military. Tell us, if you would, what you know about this and why it happened.
Well, you know, as I was undersecretary, it was very disturbing because we had a lot of indications. There's very good intelligence out there that the Chinese government, through its basically state-owned subsidiary of China Telecom, has been using cell phone technology, telecommunications technology, to track minority populations in China, to spy on them, and then to hand this information over to the China police state. And they're rounding up the Uyghur population, which is a minority Muslim group in Western China, as well as Tibetans and other minorities, and placing these people in essentially modern-day concentration camps, where there's widespread reports of gang rapes, of torture, other human rights abuses, potentially even executions and genocide occurring in these camps. And China Telecom was assisting the government of China in helping to do that. When we learned of this, we, of course, in the Trump administration, began to place China Telecom on the entity list to put sanctions upon them when we were contacted by Ed Gillespie, the executive vice president of AT&T, who urged us not to place China Telecom, despite these abuses, on the entity list. And needless to say, we were pretty much shocked by that.
Why would John Stankey, the CEO of the company, I mean, AT&T has a lot of different businesses. It's a very successful company. It's a critical company in the United States. Why would he jeopardize the image of AT&T by siding with a company that has had a hand in genocide in China? It doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense unless you assume that despite what CNN and its corporate parents say about protecting minorities and standing up for human rights, right, if it's all a lie. And what they're actually doing is placing profit over and above human rights, over and above U.S. national security concerns. And, you know, I have to say that AT&T is not alone. There are other U.S. corporations in China who are turning a blind eye to the human rights abuses, who are turning a blind eye to China threatening its neighbors in the South China Sea, who are turning a blind eye to that. What they're doing is helping China undermine U.S. national security concerns. And that is something that we tried in the Trump administration, and we were on the verge of placing China Telecom, as well as other companies, on the entity list. And let me just say this. The staff, the career staff at the Commerce Department, were clearly on a path to do this. If it doesn't happen, that will mean that there was pressure from the Biden administration put on it by AT&T to not put them on there.
I look forward to CNN covering the story in some detail, given their often expressed concern for human rights. Undersecretary Stewart, I appreciate your coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Researchers have been studying the factors that influence us to say yes to the requests of others for over 60 years, and there can be no doubt that there's a science to how we are persuaded, and a lot of this science is surprising. When making a decision, it would be nice to think that people consider all the available information in order to guide their thinking, but the reality is very often different. In the increasingly overloaded lives we lead, more than ever, we need shortcuts or rules of thumb to guide our decision-making. My own research has identified just 6 of these shortcuts as universals that guide human behavior. They are reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus. Understanding these shortcuts and employing them in an ethical manner can significantly increase the chances that someone will be persuaded by your request. Let's take a closer look at each in turn.
So, the first universal principle of influence is reciprocity. Simply put, people are obliged to give back to others the form of behavior, gift, or service that they have received first. If a friend invites you to their party, there's an obligation for you to invite them to a future party you are hosting. If a colleague does you a favor, then you owe that colleague a favor. And in the context of a social obligation, people are more likely to say yes to those that they owe. One of the best demonstrations of the principle of reciprocation comes from a series of studies conducted in restaurants. So the last time you visit a restaurant, there's a good chance that the waiter or waitress will have given you a gift. Probably at about the same time that they bring your bill. A liqueur perhaps, or a fortune cookie, or perhaps a simple mint. So here's the question. Does the giving of a mint have any influence over how much tip you're going to leave them? Most people will say no, but that mint can make a surprising difference. In the study, giving diners a single mint at the end of their meal typically increased tips by around 3%. Interestingly, if the gift is doubled and 2 mints are provided, tips don't double. They quadruple, a 14% increase in tips. But perhaps most interestingly of all is the fact that if the waiter provides 1 mint, starts to walk away from the table, but pauses, turns back, and says, "For you nice people, here's an extra mint," tips go through the roof. A 23% increase, influenced not by what was given, but how it was given. So the key to using the principle of reciprocation is to be the first to give and to ensure that what you give is personalized and unexpected.
The second universal principle of persuasion is scarcity. Simply put, people want more of those things they can have less of. When British Airways announced in 2003 that they would no longer be operating the twice-daily London-New York Concorde flight because it had become uneconomical to run, sales the very next day took off. Notice that nothing had changed about the Concorde itself. It certainly didn't fly any faster, the service didn't suddenly get better, and the airfare didn't drop. It had simply become a scarce resource, and as a result, people wanted it more. So when it comes to effectively persuading others using the scarcity principle, the science is clear. It's not enough simply to tell people about the benefits they'll gain if they choose your products and services. You'll also need to point out what is unique about your proposition and what they stand to lose if they fail to consider your proposal.
So Klaus Schwab, thank you so much for joining us today ahead of this virtual Davos agenda. It's very clear that the devastation from the pandemic could be felt far and wide in terms of livelihoods, in terms of people losing their jobs. How do we rebuild better? And is there a real purpose from governments to rebuild better, or are they still just fighting fire?
Yes, of course, we are still in a situation where we have to fight the virus, but we also have to look at the future. And it's now a historical moment, a crucial moment to rebuild the future, to reset our policies. And here, certainly, we have to take the lessons from the pandemic, which we had to fight and still have to fight. And we have to build a world which is more resilient, more inclusive, and also more sustainable. And in order to have a big kickoff and to use this opportunity, we organize next week the Davos Agenda Week as a kind of mobilization of all the spirits, all the good ideas and so on, to show visions for the future.
Who will show the way, Mr. Schwab? So there's a book. We heard also this rebuilding better from the IMF, frankly, almost from the start of the pandemic. But does the Biden administration need to show the rest of the world how it's done?
No, we will have, of course, key leaders next week assembled. It's a little bit early for the new U.S. administration, but John Kerry will certainly present his ideas about climate change. But we need also a mindset change. And I think we are also living in a very critical phase for how we are doing business. We are moving really into the age of what I would call the age of stakeholder capitalism. I think we have seen in the pandemic that companies who are committed to stakeholder responsibility have performed better because they have invested into the long-term vitality of the company. We will next week also show that we walk the talk, and we will announce that about 50 of the top global companies have committed under the leadership of our International Business Council not only to talk about, let's say, stakeholder responsibility, but to report on, in very concrete metrics, about how they are performing.
Do you believe, Klaus Schwab, that governments and world leaders are ready for the challenge, that they will, try and really address inequality, not just talk about it, but take concrete steps so that there's a real difference in 12 months, 18 months?
I think there is now a new willingness. We have seen it in the statements from many capitals around the world. We have seen, let's say, the positive signs of the US government by rejoining the WHO, rejoining the Paris Agreement. I think there could be a new renaissance in international relations. Of course, we still will remain competitors, but and we have differences of opinion particularly among the big blocs in the world, the big powers. But I think the time has come to enter again into a dialogue and to remind ourselves that we are part of a global community, and at the end, also the virus has shown us that we are globally interconnected. And again, a very good sign that the American new administration is joining probably the COVAX arrangement, which is a major effort of international cooperation to make sure that the vaccines are fairly distributed around the world.
Klaus Schwab, do we need to radically rethink capitalism?
Yes, we have to make sure that we integrate into the notion of capital, where we feel now, when we talk about capital, it's mainly financial capital. But we also have social capital, we have human capital, and we have natural capital. And if we want to regain trust for capitalism, we have to embrace all those different functions. It's not an either or. I think a company will succeed very well if it really takes into account all those dimensions, if people feel it serves society, and it's also in the best interest of shareholders if the company works on its own sustainability long term. And the own sustainability comes mainly from being trustworthy.
Klaus Schwab, it was only a year ago that we were in Davos, starting to hear about this new virus, this novel virus in Wuhan. No one at the time was really predicting we'd be here today, 12 months later. Why are economists, chief executives, even world leaders so bad at predicting these big crises?
We have worked, and we have shown in our global risk report since many years, that the virus is a danger, is a high risk. Actually, CEPI and Gavi, the two global organizations which are now mainly involved in fighting the virus on a global basis, have been created in Davos. The lesson which we draw is we have to make sure that when we raise the voice, that we follow up and enough attention is given to those risks. In this respect, we just published also our newest risk report, and it's very clear. that the world has to undertake tremendous efforts to be more resilient, because we may face other viruses, but we have to become much more risk conscious. And probably we have to invest into our resilience as a global community, as a global economy.
Klaus Schwab, this is your new book that just came out, literally, I think, or it's coming out in 1 or 2 days. We have the book cover, and you focus also on the planet. So it's Rebuilding Better, a global economy that works for everyone, including people and the planet. There has been a lot of talk about what we can do for the planet. Does this really translate into action? Are you satisfied with the number of commitments that chief executives and world leaders are pledging?
Yes, I see a tremendous effort in terms of rallying now behind net zero, not only governments but business. We have a number of initiatives at the World Economic Forum. For example, we work sector by sector how to decarbonize those industries. So there is an awareness now, it's generally accepted that climate change, if we do not tackle with it, could be the next big, let's say, virus with much more damaging and long-term consequences compared to COVID-19.
Are you confident, Klaus Schwab, that you'll be able to do the Singapore summit in person, given the way things are going?
We hope, you always have to hope for the best and to prepare for the worst. We hope with the vaccines, now also again the program of the US vaccinating 100 million people in 100 days. We see it a fast, let's say, an acceleration of the vaccination in many countries. I'm hopeful, but I'm also concerned because as long as we do not distribute those vaccines on a fair level around the world, we may have new forms of the virus coming back, hunting us even in those countries where people or a majority of people are already vaccinated. So we have to be, I would say we have two scenarios, a very optimistic one that by summer we are finally in a situation where we can at least declare partial victory about the virus, but we may be hunted by the virus for quite some time. And this means, again, how important it is to tackle this issue on a global basis.
Deep do